Hello everybody! Today we're going to do some cloth in Unity and it's going to be a procedural texture or shader I should say. So this is no textures involved, it's everything is made inside a shader. So this is what we're going to do and it's going to be, let's see, we're going to lower this one a little bit. So there's possibility to add some dust on top. Also, if we want to add ambient occlusion, and that's of course because this asset has vertex color in it. So make sure you have that, and you need to just make it black and white like this in your program. And if you want to do this kind of asset or mesh, I have a tutorial on exactly this one in, well, you find it in the tutorials. And also what's really good is that you can decide how many threads you want to have here and the colors, of course. So this is really good that the resolution is super high and all that. So let's get started to do this. And I'm gonna start off by explain this is made in real world scale. And what I mean by that is, so if we look at these ones, 0.1. So, oh, there's something going on here. What is that? Maybe this one, maybe this one. Ah, whatever. I'll sort that thing out later. So, what I want to show you here is that these three quads are UV mapped exactly the same way. What I mean by that is this one is 1 by 1, and 1 by 1 is covering exactly I'm going to show you here. So this is the grid and it's not UV mapped anything yet. And here we UV mapped it. So it's covering the UV area 1 by 1, right? So that's what's going on in this one. Here you see the threads are bigger, but it's actually the same amount of threads. So this one is not real world scaled UV map. And what I mean by that is it also have this cover. So if we should UV map a 5 by 5 in world scale, we should move it, scale it, sorry, UV map it like this. So here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 times bigger than the one UV map unit, right? And also we got the 10 by 10. Let's see. So that's supposed to be like this, right? And if you scale them, you see here that the texture can be on different sizes of assets, but it looked like it kind of uniform, right? So here you need a separate material for each asset, but here you can have the same material for all the assets because they are UV mapped in world scale. And of course, if we now change the threads, you see what I mean, right? So yeah, it's the same material on all these 6 quads. So let's get started and do these things. We're gonna see, I just wanna take care of this one. I'm just gonna remove it. Actually, I want to have it. Maybe I want to show something on it later. So we're gonna start from scratch on this one, right? And we're gonna remove these ones. And make a new shader graph, HDRP lit shader graph. We have it here, and we're gonna make a create material on that one as well. Pass it on here and open up the shader graph. So the first thing, I'm gonna make this a quad and we're gonna make some more room here. And first thing off is tiling and offset. So I use this because instead of a regular UV node, we're going to add some stuff on the left side on the tiling later on. So we're just going to make sure we use this one straight away. And we're going to work on the different channels. So we want to work on the red and green. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a modulo and tile this to 4, and now you see we made 4 threads. And this with the modulo we're going to do floor and also change this to 2, because now when we do modulo it's only going to be 0 to 1 and then start over from 0 to 1, start over 0 to 1. And when we floor all these values, because floor is putting everything between 0 to 1 down to 0, but if we modulo into 2, it will go from 0 to 1, 2. So that means it's going to go from 0 to 1, it's going to floor down to 0. And everything between 1 and 2 is going to be floored down to 1. So this is really good. Now we got 0 value, 1 value, 0, 1 value, and 1 value. So this is a really good start, and we're gonna make sure to do the same thing on the green channel as well. And we're just gonna make sure that now we're gonna subtract these with each other to make this pattern for the threads. So we're gonna make just 2 by 2, and this one we're gonna make 1 minus, and this one we're gonna have a multiply. So if we multiply these two, these two with each other, we're only gonna get this a square up here. And if we then do the same thing and multiply with this one that's kind of inverted, and I'm thinking, so we got this one and we got this one, of course. So what I want to do is this one, I want 1 minus on this as well before we multiply. And now if we do this one and make a max, so the maximum value of both, we're starting to get this shape that we're gonna have to make our threads. So each white will represent one color of the threads, and the opposite gonna be the other one. So now when we have this one, we do a 1 minus. So we have a mask for each of the threads. So here we're gonna have a color thread 1 and also thread 2, and we're gonna make them green and red to make it easier to see the difference on them. And green up there, red down here. Now it's so easy, just do multiply this one with the color, and also we're gonna have a multiply down here. We're gonna have this one with the color, and then we just do a max, and here we are. So now we got the super basic setup for our cloth. So here you have it. So now we want to make sure that we can scale it to have different size on it. And that's first off, we're just gonna tidy up a little bit here to make it more easier to understand. So this is gonna be the kind of mask area. We won't touch this anything more, so we can just leave this as it is and do group selection mask area. All right. So we need to sort this scaling out to be more easily to control. So if I do 2 point something 64, it gets irregular with the shapes. So we always want this to be even numbers to make it work for us. And we're just gonna make some small math to make it work. So we do a float, number of threads, and put it here. And let's say that we have 3.3, and 3.3 is not an even number, but we're gonna make it even. So imagine that this one is, well, it is 3.3, and the first thing we do, we're gonna multiply with 0.5. So we're gonna make the half of it, and so now it's 1.65, is it? I think it is 1.65 in this node. And if we then do ceiling, so 1.65 and do ceiling on that is, then it's 2. And then if we multiply 2 with 2, we got 4. And that means that we always will have the next even number. So if we do 3.3, we have 4. So if we do, well, let's say all the random numbers gonna turn out to be even. So we just put it into tiling, and you will see here when I change this value, it will always jump to even numbers. So that's good. So now we have that sorted out. And let's see, next thing on. So the next thing, we want to make the threads. So now it's just a pattern, checker pattern. And the next thing we're going to do to make it look more like threads in here. So if we start with the green, we're going to do tiling again. And that's because we're going to add something on this side again later. And first thing is that we're gonna split this one, and we're gonna do round like this. So what round is, it takes the closest number, so it's always gonna be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or am I thinking wrong? No, that should be it. And so what we want to do, we're going to do a subtract. So if we take this number, so this number, let's say here it's 0, and we are tiling it, and this will, because of this part, we can do like this: group selection, make number even upwards, like this. So this will actually be as an 8. So that means it's 0 here and should be 8 here. Or yeah, that should be it. So when we do round here, we have 0, 1, and so forth. And when we have maybe the value in here in this thread is 1 point, well, let's say 2.2, and then we subtract it with this one, that will be 2. We always have values actually between -1 and 1, I think it is, or maybe it is -0.5 to 0.5. So that means this black color here is a negative value, and we can't see the shapes of negative values. But if we only do like an absolute node, we can see the negative as a positive, and we actually just transform the negative to positive. So here we have the threads. So this is really good. Now we only need to multiply with this mask, and that will make this pattern. And then of course, instead of using this, we're gonna use this one, and we're starting to get the threads shape. So we're just gonna make the exactly same thing here, down here, except we're gonna change the channel. So we're not gonna use the red channel, we're gonna use the green channel instead. So we use the green, and now we have the horizontal ones instead. And instead of using this mask, well, this mask here go upwards, and this one should be plugged into this one. So we just make like this, and then we use this one here. So we save the asset, and we should start to see some kind of wire pattern. pattern. So this is going really good, and I'm gonna pause the video here, and we're gonna continue in the next one. So far this is the thing we have done, and so this is the making the numbers even, right? And this is part is making the mask that we use, and this part here is doing the rounded shapes, horizontal, vertical, and we just multiply it with the color, and it's just the opposite down here to do the horizontal red wires. So there's more things to do in the next tutorial, so see you in the next one. Thank you.